Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me here today for yet another Second Life lifestyle video on something that I find interesting or helpful in some type of way. For those that don't know me, my name is Sandra, and I try to cover all things SL from shopping to decor to anything in between. And today we are going to be covering some things that I've noticed about changes with clubs/sims and how sometimes the changes are good, sometimes the changes are bad, and it just is what it is, but I wanted to talk about it. So in today's video, we are going to be focusing on a group called Valmoor, Valmoor. It's a group that I just loved so much, and the concept and the themes of the parties and things that they had. So we're going to be diving into that. And here recently in the last months, that particular group has had some changes, which, has made me sad. And yeah, so basically, just to give you a little bit of background, the group was a paid group. It's been around for a while, meaning paid group, meaning you pay and then you get informed when they have these parties and events, and you're able to attend because you paid to get into the group. Yeah. So on Second Life, it was recommended to me a real long time ago, years ago, from a friend of mine that she told me that, being that I really love fantasy type stuff and over the top type concepts and things in SL, as far as themes for parties and things, she was like, you've got to join this group. So I did join it, unknowing what the group was about, and I hadn't heard about this group beyond anything she said. And so I joined it, and it turned out to be one of my favorite groups in SL. The Valmoor parties were beautiful, but as things go, they decided to change the theme and the concept here, like I said a few months ago. And they, went through some drastic changes. And it's left me wanting to start this video series, basically, because I would like to tell some of my experiences at the parties. And, I just wanted to kind of explain kind of where I was coming from, what my viewpoint was on it, and that it does sadden me, but these things happen and I understand it. I just want to talk about it. So, you guys, let's go ahead and get started. All right, you guys. Yeah. So, Valmoor. So, what is Valmoor? Let me try to explain a little bit more about what it was for those that might not be, aware of what it was or that aware that it was even around. Valmoor was known for having very large, over-the-top parties. The parties were very gothic and elaborate. They were beautiful. The decor was rich with colors and textures, sculptures, lighting, sound with an unmistakable adult type theme. And I will say now that because it did have that adult type undertone, it made me like it more. I do not tend to like things that are G or PG rated, or places where you have to alter what you would normally wear or what have you, because it's, PG or G rated. I liked the fact that it had kind of erotica type undertones. The music would be very kind of pulsating and odd and weird at times, but it had its own vibe, like you definitely knew when you were at a Valmoor party. Other times, they would choose to have more club contemporary type music. It just really depended on what type of party they were having. But the vibe when you got to these parties was one that you were someplace very magical, and you knew that you were in an elite group of invites, of people who cared about making sure this theme was followed through on. That was really important to me because when you get such a large group of people all together in the same place at the same time, carrying out the theme or concept of the event, it really makes a huge impact. It's really an experience to be had. Like I said, I'm being honest when I say I've not experienced anything like that before in Second Life, before nor since. Yeah. And so, yeah, all of the Abbeys would always be dressed to the nine. The money that these individuals spent on their looks and pieces to this day are unparalleled. I've never seen anything like it. Some of these individuals have been around SL a long time, so they would tend to use many times the bodies that we consider or label as older, like the original Laura body, stuff like that. But just we know how much clothing and how many designers got in to design stuff for the original Laura body. I mean, it's crazy the amount of stuff that's available for that specific body. And other bodies, like I want to say that from what I understand, that the Jake body has been around a really long time, and that's why that one has the most fantasy type items for it. From what I understand, I'm not really into male bodies and things, meaning I don't know that much about it. I have female bodies. But yeah, so it really makes a difference when you're making a fantasy look if you just have unlimited resources to tap into, or if you've been collecting looks for years upon years. Some of these people have been in SL for like longer than 17 years, you guys. Yeah, so anyway, and during these parties, they didn't hold back. They just brought everything all out. Yeah. And yeah, so let me see here. I was trying to kind of semi-follow my notes. But anyway, the looks that these advanced players would come up with were, you know, beautiful, unique, spectacular, breathtaking. I got a lot of my style choices myself for layering and skins and how to put looks together that were kind of fantasy type related looks. I got a lot of my ideas and kind of instruction from these individuals who would help me, achieve that type of vibe, if you will. Yeah. So, yeah, and it was just such a good experience. And so, uh, you really have something out of this world when you kind of put all these people together for one event. Yeah, and I just can't say that enough because it was just a really unique experience. Yeah. So that's what Valmoor was, you guys. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the party type themes, just so that you could get kind of a grip on kind of what they were offering or what have you, if you have never heard of this group before. So a lot of the past parties were themes like Midsummer Night theme that would take place in an over-the-top spa that had multiple Olympic-sized spa-size pools. Uh, and this area would be, lit up from the ceiling to the walls, and it would have fairies flying around, and it would have flowers and plants growing out of the walls, and statues in the middle of the, spas, and the lighting would always be pristine in these atmospheres that they would make. It was always very over the top and very beautiful. And let me just say this, that this spa was actually, the way the sim was set up is that on the top, let me say, ground level, they had multiple kind of Gothic style large houses that they would rent out to those who were interested in renting out houses there on the sim. And then below the houses, they had this underground stadium size Gothic looking secret club that you would go to. It was very kind of, if I compared it to anything, it was a very kind of eyes wide shut looking type decor, if you will. I don't know how else to like explain it. But yeah, it was very beautiful and very well done, very well designed. And then under this underground, if you walked outside of this stadium sized Gothic club, if you walked down this long cave type tunnel that was lined with flowers and fairies and lights and stuff like that, you would come to the spa area that I was just explaining before, where the Midsummer Night theme uh, party would take place. And yeah, so anyway, just really unique, really cool ideas. Whoever designed the stuff was just really on the ball. Um, Another party that I really just, it was really beautiful. That's all I could keep saying about this sim. They had beautiful, elaborate parties, visually beautiful. And this one party, again, I'm not calling it by the proper names that they used because I can't remember what they called the parties at that time. But they had one party that was like a horseplay theme. And so everybody was dressed kind of in leathers and top hats, stuff like that, whips, stuff like that. And and the bridle for the horses was like outside. It was a huge area that was full of like flowers and bridges and waterfalls and stuff like that. And they had a bunch of like teagle horses just like wandering around the grounds. It really gave a vibe. And the thing is that at this party, some of the people were dressed in like kind of like BDSM-ish type wear. Other people were dressed in full Renaissance looking dresses and clothing. Like I said, mixed with the top hats and the whips and stuff. It was just, this is what the parties were. And, people would dance, they would have a DJ there. Um, and like I said, the music tended to be kind of like had a pulsating type tone to it. It was just very cool. And everybody there was always very cool. They were always really into seeing what everybody else was wearing. I can't say that I ever had anybody be rude to me with all the people that would come. I never had anybody be rude or unhelpful or what have you. But the thing I will say, just as a side note, is there were a lot of people from Europe that would come to the parties, and the parties were visually beautiful, but it was not an atmosphere that was warm and fuzzy. Like people were not chatting a lot. There were not a lot of best friends that were making other friends at those parties and things. It just it was more of a visual sound experience in my experience. Maybe other people had different experiences. Yeah. So yeah, so anyway, so there was that party, and then let me see. I'm just looking over my notes to see what other type of parties that they had. Um Yeah, and then of course, one of the themes that was reoccurring with this group, which I will get into more here in a second, is one of the reoccurring themes was a kind of vampire type theme, because again, it was a fantasy sim. A lot of the undertones of the sim were kind of mythical, magical, fairy, vampire, werewolf, stuff like that. So yeah, I would say I don't even know the percentage of what parties would be like vampire type related events, but it was a lot. It was a lot. Um, so, and that was, uh, that caused something else to happen that, like I said, I'll get into that in one moment. But I thought I would take this time to go ahead and show you some images that I have just of myself at the parties. I have images of other people, but I hesitate to show others. I'll show myself. And also, I'll go ahead and leave a link to at least one past Valmoor um, video that I filmed on the premises, just so that you could get, a feel for the place and what it looked like and stuff. Because, like I said, it's sad it's not there anymore. It's just not there anymore. So I'll leave that down below. I can't even remember what I was talking about at that time in the video, but I'll go ahead and leave a link for it down below just so that you could see it if you're curious. Yeah, so anyway, here's some of the photos from some past parties. Right here, this is a vampire theme party. And yeah, I would always laugh with a couple people about me getting dressed for these parties because I always felt like if I didn't bring it like 100%, that I wouldn't even be allowed in because these people brought it, believe me. Like the looks were like something else. So anyway, this is a vampire theme party. The look turned out beautiful, really cool. And also the thing about like getting ready for these type of parties is that the boundaries of what you would normally dress your avatar like are pushed, which I like. So anyway, this was another party. I can't remember what the theme was, but that's another theme. And like I said, it was an adult sim. So there you go. All right. This was an Arabian or Aladdin night party that they had there. This is a look from it took place outside in a really pretty garden that they had there. And it was an event that was at night in the garden and it was all like zombie themed. So, yeah, and again, this is not a look I would normally put together, but I really ended up liking it. Some of them, I can't show you the whole outfit, you guys, because it's too risque. Um, Believe me, they were more risque than what you're seeing here. This was like an Asian type theme party that they had one time. And actually, this is the old Laura body. You could tell from looking at it, it's not the reborn, but this was from a very long time ago. And this is actually from the horseplay party that I was referring to earlier, where people were wearing kind of top hats and had a lot of leather and whips and leather gloves and stuff like that. Yeah. So anyway, you guys, I just wanted to show a couple. You probably have, it's probably a bad reference to look at my photos and try to get in your mind what the parties were like, but I wish I had more photos. Looking back on it, I wish I had more, but I don't. So that's unfortunate. But yeah, so anyway, that's some of the themes from the parties. And so basically, what happened is a few months ago now, um, the people that ran the group sim, what have you, decided that they needed a break, which is totally cool. I get it. Hey, it's cool. So they were gone, I want to say a few months. I don't recall exactly, but they were gone a few months. And then it did sadden me because I was like, man, I hope they come back. I hope we could get the thing going again with this group and everything. And then what happened was they came back like right before Halloween, I think. If someone knows better time wise what happened, don't quote me on any of this stuff. I'm kind of guessing off the top of my head, but I'm pretty close. I want to say that the first big party they had was going to be Halloween. And I was so excited because uh, this group's Halloween parties, Christmas parties, and New Year's parties were unparalleled. Like the outfits that everybody would wear, you guys, the looks were crazy. Like I just loved going to these parties so much just to see what everybody else would be dressed up like. So, anyway, they came back and, you know, they made the announcement that they had time to recollect themselves and come up with a new concept, uh, and that they were going to start having parties again. And so I was like, okay, great, right in time for Halloween. This is like fantastic. So then they had the Halloween party, and they did. I want to say, looking back on it, I want to say that they made some sort of m- maybe announcement. See, again, I don't recall exactly how they got the word out, but I remember hearing something about or being aware of that they were going to go more for kind of a German type grunge type looking theme moving forward. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, And so they actually did end up having one small party before Halloween, if I'm remembering right. And it took place like kind of like outside, and there was a lot of like there was like a trailer, and it was like a stone floor, like a stone patio floor, and they had some lights and a DJ. It was just a small thing, but I was like, okay, that's cool. We're getting started. That's cool. And then the next thing I remember is that they had the Halloween party. And the Halloween party took place on a small stone type outside porch setup. I don't know how else to explain it. It was just a stone area that was outside, and it had a DJ, and they always had the lighting and stuff. And this was for Halloween. And then people started showing up. And this was a reoccurring theme that I was going to experience several times over, is that the patio area was not large enough. It was small. And there wasn't enough people, there was not enough room for people to really move around, to dance, or anything. And all you could basically do was stand. And I kept seeing that people were kind of logging in to the sim, and they were in the landing area, but they weren't able to come onto the patio area because it was too crowded. Um, and I know that with myself, I couldn't dance or anything because it was just too tight. And that was unfortunate. And that was a sign of kind of things to come. Uh, so then they did have another party after that. I ended up leaving early actually from the Halloween party, which it kind of made me sad, but it's just like if you could tell you're not vibing with the place or whatever, it's better if you just leave. Like, don't force yourself to stay. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, so anyway, then they had like another party at a club. And I was like, okay, let me go to this one. It was just like a normal, like they didn't even, there was no theme. You just go. And I was like, all right, I'll go. And then I got there, and it was in a very, very small space. It was a very small build. Um, and again, going on this kind of German grunge type vibe, I assume, that, there's really no furniture, there's nothing on the walls, it's just plain stone, with the DJ. They did have the lighting. Um, and again, it was really too small for people to dance or move around. It was very, very jam packed, crowded. And so I ended up leaving early from that one. And at that point I was like, wow, is this what it is? You know. And then uh this is something I will say, like going back. I know I'm trying not to be all over the place, but there's several points I want to hit on here. Is now I remember their Christmas parties, specifically their Christmas parties. And like there was this one Christmas party that was like in that stadium gothic types club, and the music was really like kind of odd, but it was pulsating, and everybody was dressed in these elaborate Christmas type looks. And it's so amazing when you see that many people that are in theme. I know I've said that multiple times, but it's really something to see that. And then the fact that you got everybody together and they're all in this like gothic type stadium, it's a vibe. It is. It was one of the most memorable parties I think that I've ever gone to in SL. And I was there by myself because at the time my boyfriend could not make it to be there with me. I was there by myself, but it was one of the most memorable parties I've ever gone to, ever. And it was because of the atmosphere, the other people, the music, stuff like that. Then one year after that, I went to, I want to say this was their last Christmas party, if I'm not mistaken, but it was very 1980s type looking, like just meaning the decor and the color. It was all bright red and bright green, just the traditional colors of Christmas. And then they had this oblong table, and they had all these presents and gifts and candles and food and stuff on the table. And people were like dancing on the table. And then they had all these like pieces of furniture that looked, to me, that looked kind of like 1980s looking. And they had that kind of surrounding the table. And some people were sitting and watching, some people were dancing. There was a DJ there, but it was just it was so well done, so well designed, and so cool. It's that I miss, And also, that party was very memorable for me. I did have my friend with me at that time, and it was really, you know, especially during that time of year, during the holiday time, it was really special to, have that time with somebody that's a friend. And the fact that it's the holiday time, which is not the easiest time of year for everybody. Yeah. And yeah, it was really a cool vibe. Yeah. All right. So anyway, let me see what else I have here from my notes. Yeah, so basically, that's what happened, you guys, with the party situation. And so, coming to current times here, this last New Year's Eve, uh, I decided to go to this New Year's Eve party because I was like, okay, they're having one. It seems like their vibe has changed, but I'm gonna go to this party. And, I went with somebody that I care about. So I'm like, this is going to be a good thing. And I was looking forward to it. And again, when I got there, it was in a build that, again, in my opinion, I have to keep saying that because I know somebody's going to come for me and be like, well, yeah, this is all my opinion. So we get there, and the build is too small for all the people that are trying to come in and go to this party. And the thing that's kind of sad for me looking back on it is that I could tell everybody got dressed up. It was that same group of people. Like they want to be there. They want to be there for the theme. They want to be there for the party. They're into it. They're trying to, be there, like be present. They're trying to really be there. And the build was too small, it was too tight. And so it's kind of like some people were standing off in the side room, and people that did try to squeeze into the main room. It was tight. It was tight. What can I say? To me, the build needs to be bigger. It needed to be bigger. I don't know what else to say. And I don't know if it's a vibe they're trying to do. Um, I don't know. Just can't. I don't know. But and I kind of was looking around at a couple people, and I could tell that they were all dressed up and everything, and it was cool in that sense. But like I said, the build was just way too small. It needs to be bigger. People need to be able to move around. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. Um, so we did end up leaving early because it was just too tight. And when it's tight like that, it causes lag. We all know that when you're trying to move around your avatar and it's like lagging, and then it glitches, and then you end up like in somebody's face by accident. It's because you need more space. I don't know what else to say. Um, so yeah, it's so that happened, and that was the latest party, and me and some people were talking, and I was like, well, this is just, it's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. So let's let's go back a bit, about where I feel like some things took a turn. And this is always interesting in hindsight to look back at what worked and what didn't work. Like, what happened? How did we get here? Like, why are we here now? And so, again, based on my own, you know, experience from seeing kind of how things were played out, is that I feel like, well, the parties would take place once every 2 weeks. They had an event once every 2 weeks. And, listen, I know that doing any type of event or party, or, where you have DJs and people and you're trying to send out announcements, it's a pain in the ass. Let's face it. It's not easy. Okay. And, then they're trying to make a theme, and so it's you're trying to get everybody on board, and you're hoping everybody comes on time, and all of that BS. So I get it. But I think what happened is that the fallback theme for the parties tended to be the vampire theme. And I think the vampire theme is fantastic. It's great. It leaves everybody an open book to dress kind of however they feel like they wish to for that particular theme. Like, it's very, like, you could do so many things with that concept, that theme for a party. But I think they did it too much. That's what I'm saying. I think they did it too much. I think they relied on it too much. So, and with them relying on it too much, people got sick of that theme. I think that was part of the problem. And what happens when you get sick of a theme is you don't want to get dressed for it, and you definitely don't want to go to the party for it. So there you go. So I think that was part of it, in my opinion. Yeah. And then, there were certain themes that I would hear about from a friend of mine that had been going to these parties for years before I even heard of this group. And because she was one of those people, those advanced people that have been on SL for like 17 plus years and stuff like that. So she would tell me, how the parties used to be. And I remember this one time she told me about this party that was like a circus freak theme for the party. And so somebody went and they decorated like a night circus theme. And it was kind of like a decrepit type circus. And everybody kind of dressed like circus freaks when they went to the party. And I was like, man, that sounds so cool. I cannot even imagine the way that people looked. It must have been so fantastic. So it must have been something else to see. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it, but it must have been something else. And she said it was. She remembered that party and she was telling me about it. That's the thing that's special about this group is that even her, she didn't go to the group parties anymore, but she was like recollecting the details of the circus freak party like it just happened because it stuck in her mind. It was an experience. Anyway, so what I did was this one uh, day, I got on chat and I kind of asked if we could have that type of theme for a party, like the circus theme party. And I mean, what can I say? My suggestion got dismissed very quickly and never brought up again. And you know, again, I get it. Everybody has their own ideas about what they want to do. Um, and the owners of the sim get the last word, obviously, because it's their sim. They're the ones paying for the sim rental and all of that stuff. And yeah, so anyway, that's all I want to say. I just want to make it clear. I wish we had a circus freak theme party. That's what I wish to say about that. And and yeah, let me see. I'm just looking over my notes, you guys. Oh, right. Okay. This is something I noticed. Again, this is going back to things that I've noticed, like kind of where things kind of took a turn. Is that SL being what it is these days? Me and so many other people have discussed this about SL. And it's difficult to put your finger on why things are changing exactly. You just don't know. You never really know. But so many people have expressed to me that when you go to adult sims, now, you guys, I'm going to explain it as well as I can by YouTube standards. Okay. But when you go to an adult sim, you don't see nearly as many individuals engaging. That's all I'm going to say, you guys. You know what I'm talking about, okay? You know what I'm saying. Now, there's a couple sims where people do engage more, but not nearly as much anymore. People, ironically, are much more modest in many ways, which is so interesting to me. Um, so I think that again, this is just me kind of putting out there what I feel like was going on behind the scenes without me really knowing what's going on behind the scenes. I could guess though, like I could put two and two together, you know what I'm saying? And so I think that the people that ran the sim, people that ran the group, I think that they wished or had, that they wanted the parties to be a certain way. Let me give you an example. That I remember this one party. I can't remember the name of the party again. I'm sorry, you guys, but they all had they all had party kind of titles and stuff. I don't remember none of that. So they had this one party that took place in this like kind of gothic looking castle ballroom thing. And Very cool looking. It definitely had a vibe, and there was like a lot of red velvet drapes like everywhere and on the windows, and they had like a lot of like red velvet furniture and stuff. It looked cool, it was a vibe. And it was like a BDSM type themed party. And so the men were all in suits and masks, and then the women were either dressed in lingerie or they would be dressed in like fancy dresses and stuff. It was a mix, which made it so interesting. And so, you know, you get there and like I remember specifically this one party, and who knows why, but I remember a lot of people were just standing around, and not that many people were even dancing. And I remember that there was some encouragement. Nothing was forced, nothing was ever forced, but there was some encouragement to say, hey, the furniture that's like along the walls and stuff, it's adult furniture. So you could do whatever on that furniture if you like. And, they even said that, after the party, that there was an open invitation to go to the spas afterwards and stuff. This is what I want to say. Going back, sticking to the party theme here for a minute, I think that there was a want, just like when I went to the party, honestly, you guys, I thought, oh, okay, with this theme, it's going to be really cool if like you got people dressed like this, then you got people dancing, then you got some people engaging on the pieces of furniture around. It's a vibe. But when I got there, no, people were just kind of standing around. And I think sometimes it could be frustrating when just, you know, there's no engagement. What can I say? I don't even know what else to say about it. Just a lot of times, at the very least, you want people talking and dancing and stuff like that. And just not that much was happening. And I think if I had to hazard a guess, I think it caused some frustration um, among the people that possibly put the concept together. Again, hey, do not come from me in the comments. This is my own opinion. Okay, so I'm just putting it out there because I could see it. If I made that party and I made that theme, and then everybody comes and they're standing around and they're all fully clothed, first of all, for a BDSM party. Come on now. Fully clothed, fully covered, no dancing or very few people dancing, and no one's using the furniture and no one's talking. It's like, come on, man. Jeez. All right. So anyway, you guys, I mean, this is all my opinion. Obviously I got a lot of opinions, you guys. Yeah. So, you know, so fewer and fewer people were were interested in engaging in the parties. And so I do feel like that was an issue. And, but the parties in general were very artsy, very tasteful. And I do miss it because, like I've said so many times, I miss that type of theme. So, yeah, let me see. I'm just looking at my notes here. I got so many notes here. So let me just, in closing, you guys, I think I've put it all out there. I've showed you the photos. I gave you a description of what the group used to be like, the type of parties they had, and why I miss it. And now in closing, I'll finish off the video by just saying and stating the obvious that I miss the old Valmoor. So no one can take that away from me. I miss it. It is what it is. And I know and I understand it's out of my hands, but I just want to reminisce a little bit. And I do hope, I really, really so much hope that someone else comes up from the ashes and is willing to take kind of the bull by its horns and come up with a concept for a club that's on somewhat the same caliber that Valmoor was. I really think SL needs that, and this type of club or what have you should be promoted. If someone puts that much trouble into something and makes it so beautiful and makes the party so great, it should be promoted. And I do think that there is a large segment of this, residents that would be interested in going to such things. And I'm going to keep making videos on these type of groups and things that I have noticed that either have faded out, that have changed, or are totally gone, and I miss them. Therefore, I want to talk about them. Yeah, and some things I notice just never get replaced, which is just such a travesty, in my opinion. And yeah, so anyway, you guys, I hope this wasn't too much of a downer. I mean, I just want to talk about it. So, yeah, so you guys, if you know of any clubs that used to be that you want to talk about, put it in the comment section down below. Get the conversation going. Also, more importantly, if you know about any clubs or groups or what have you that you do feel should have more light shown on them, do put it in the conversation in the comments down below. Let other people see it, because I don't know everything and other people don't know everything either. So sometimes, unless you put it down and get the conversation going about it, people just don't know. Like, there's this one club, this is just a side note, but there's this one group, Sim, it's the Hell Sim. So many people don't know about it. That sim is fantastic. I love that sim. Yeah. So anyway, it's stuff like that. Like, talk about it. If you know about something, or if you want to add photos. I know you can't add photos, unfortunately, in YouTube videos in the comment section, but you could put a screenshot or something, like a link that people could go elsewhere and look at it. That's cool. I don't care. I'll keep it in there. I don't care. Yeah. All right. So you guys, thank you so much for hanging in there with me. I hope you found this interesting. And like I said, I'm going to be making other videos, a few more kind of like this, as it occurs to me that there's something I want to talk about. Yeah. All right. So you guys take care, and I will go ahead and see you next time. Bye.